What you're watching in this video was an internal training / masterclass on how to craft irresistible podcast episode titles. What we did was we got a bunch of our clients to hand in their episode titles, and we were essentially roasting them, critiquing them, turning bad ones to good, good ones to great, and essentially giving them an internal masterclass when it comes to writing irresistible podcast episode titles. So again, this really was for our clients in the Get More Listeners Academy, which is our one-on-one personalized growth and monetization program. And it's a video between myself, my business partner and best friend Ty, and our client success manager Atavia, who's a podcast growth and marketing expert. But why should you care? Well, look, here's the thing. Your episode titles are really the main thing that drives so much growth for your show, but most people ignore them. Most people just rely on generic AI titles that don't really grab the attention of the listeners you're trying to reach. The second thing is when you're promoting on social media, guess what? Your episode title is essentially the only thing, one of the main things people will look at when deciding whether or not to listen to your podcast. If someone discovered your podcast organically when it comes to Apple and Spotify, they're just browsing organically, and they look at your show, what's the main thing they're going to look at? Your episode titles. And let's say you get a massive guest onto your show, you have an episode that blows up, and then the new listeners look at your back catalog and they look at your titles. And if your titles aren't irresistible, you've lost out on a massive opportunity to capture a new audience. So all that being said, you can't really afford to have crappy episode titles. And in this training, you'll get everything you need when it comes to crafting irresistible episode titles. I hope you enjoy it. What we're going to do, we're going to go through each of the titles that you guys submitted. And to make things fair, that's going to be unbiased. And of course, we love all of you equally, and we like all of you equally. So we'll be biased anyways. We decided to kind of remove the names so we don't know whose titles are who. And we're going to go through each one. Me, Ty, and Atavia are going to rate each one out of 5. And at the end, we're going to tally the ones that has the highest score. And I'm trying to think, what if they end up having, like, 3 of them end up having, like, the same score? Like, how, you know?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay, well, you guys are going to watch a problem solve live. I hope you enjoy this.
Yeah.
So that's really it. I'm going to go through, rate each one out of 5, one by one, maybe have a little discussion on each one, maybe not, we'll see, and then go from there. So, I mean,
and
that's the first one.
The winner will be left with $50 Amazon, well, 50, yeah, equivalent at least, $50 Amazon gift card. But more importantly, bragging rights and knowing that you're creating great titles, which is going to make you a lot more than $50 in the long run, because of course, great titles is the foundation of a podcast that grows and converts. So, yeah, this is going to be real nice. So, should we start? You ready, Tavia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the secret practice top executives swear by to level up their leadership. Tavia, first thoughts.
I love the word secret and swear by. That phrase is good.
I like that. Yeah, that's really good to be fair.
And I think it's also good that it's creating some intrigue and curiosity and mystery, but also it's telling people the outcome, like a level up leadership. The only thing it's maybe adapt is addressing the listener directly.
Okay. Yep. What are you giving out of 5?
Great point. Well, I was going to say, I was going to give it a, 3.8. That's right, guys. I'm going to be awkward. I'm joking. I was going to give it like, honestly, I was going to give it like a, this is the thing. I'm going to talk this out loud. I was going to give it a 3, but I feel like it's strong, but I could give it a 4. But like, I don't think it's quite a 4. And here's why. Number one, because what you said, Atavia. And I'm being a bit strict here, because what you said about, if it was, let's say, the secret practice you're missing that top executives swear by to level up their leadership, that would be, I feel like that's stronger, way stronger. But for some reason, again, I'm being picky here, practice, I feel like practice could be stronger as well. If it was even protocol sounds like more like protocol, one more, whereas practice like, a bit lighter, So I'll say a 3. Again, I'm talking this out. I'm being strict. I'll say a 3 for me.
Okay. 3 for Anthony. I mean, I asked Atavia, but we got Anthony. So what? Atavia.
No, I'm good because I would. I think that's a good point. The word practice could be strong. But then we've got top executive, so we'll say top secret. So yeah, I reckon, can I give it a 3.5? Are we allowed to do point?
Yeah, sure. No, that's
I think that might actually be better because then we will have less.
Yeah.
There's less chance of us getting like multiple titles ranking the same.
Yeah.
okay. That's a good point. Well, for me, I really like this one, and I think I'm probably going to be a bit more generous than you two on this one. I think the secret practice, yeah, you're right. I think depending on what that secret practice is, you can maybe jazz it up secret ritual or something that it's even a bit more intriguing, right? But ultimately, I think secret thing that you're doing, that it kind of the top executive swear by. You mentioned Atavia saying you could address the listener, and I think that's a good point, and that's like a general good rule in titles, isn't it? I think in this case, top executive swear by, kind of mentioning that them in the third person, the top executive swear by this, it kind of creates a bit of like FOMO in a sense. It's like, oh, all these people know about it, but you don't, kind of thing. So I quite like that aspect of it. I think this makes it, the combination of those things, plus obviously the benefit as well, does make it very intriguing and does make you feel like you're really missing out if you don't listen, which is obviously what we want with the title. So for that, I'm going to give it 4.
Okay.
And there we go. That's the first one. We'll obviously reveal who wrote what at the end. I mean, we can potentially guess some of them, but that's not the point. All right. Next up, we've got From Resistance to Flow, the water-inspired path to mindfulness. Right out the gate, what are you saying, Atavia?
This is tricky for me because I saw this yesterday on a health audit. I know that was the title that performed very well. So
okay. All right. Tell you what, you're partial then. So Anthony, let's go to you first, then Atavia can round off.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna say a 3 again. Yeah, if I didn't perform well, I would have said a 3. So I'm gonna say a 3. And the reason that I'm gonna give it a 3 is because, I mean, I guess the good thing is it kind of shows, the before and after, resistance to flow. I get that. Okay, that's a good transformation. Water-inspired path to mindfulness. I guess maybe because I'm not in the niche, I don't know how powerful that is or how clear, this is, or I guess like what maybe the specific problem is, but I kind of know generally what the outcome is. So which is which is get into a flow state, mindfulness through water. So I'll give it a 3 for those reasons.
Okay, fair enough. I might actually just join you on a 3. And so you've kind of covered my thoughts as well. To be honest, I feel like there's a lot of areas where it could be more specific. It's got the main structure, right? It's got the before and after, which is a strong start. Water-inspired path to mindfulness is intriguing because I'm like, already I don't really know what that means, but because it's path to mindfulness, it's not like, inspired by water. It's like, cool, I don't really know what that means, but also I don't want to know. Water-inspired path to mindfulness, it kind of, shows that there is a value in understanding what that is, right? So there is a bit of intrigue to it. The reason I wouldn't mark it higher is because I think there's a lot of area to be more specific because what does resistance to flow really mean? Is this in terms of like your level of focus? Is this in terms of, when you're like, there's a lot of different areas that can really show up in life. And I'm not really sure where I would apply this in my life, compared to this one, where obviously it's a lot clearer. So, with that all said, it's obviously done really well, like you saw, Atavia. So I'll give it a 3. What are you going to rate it?
I think I'm actually going to give it a 2 point. Can we give 2 point any points?
Well, you can give it anything. You can give it a 0 if you really want. I mean,
no, I would never do that. I'll give it a 2.8. The reason being, I think it depends on the context of the show if you're already listening to that show, but just judging on this title alone, if I just saw this title and didn't know the show and had never listened to the show, it wouldn't grab me because it isn't again speaking to me directly as the reader, and just a few small changes could increase its impact. So how to move from resistance to flow in your daily life using water-inspired path to mindfulness. That would be more like, oh, I know how I not feel so much resistance in my life and just move through life flow using this unique thing of mindfulness. So that's why I give it 2.8.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. It's interesting stuff. Let's keep it moving. So 3 sneaky habits blocking your fertility, how to shift them to get pregnant naturally. This one's a banger. I just know I'm gonna give this one quite a high score.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with naming, if we're talking about habits or practices or, paths or whatever it is, numbering it where possible does make it that little bit more specific. You can't use it all the time, but it works nicely here. Blocking your fertility, literally hindering you from the desired outcome, obviously for what the show's about, and how to shift them to, desired outcome. It's just what's the word? Just like what's the word? It's just like a classically good title. It's just got all the main aspects, and I think above all for me, it's just worded in a way that feels clear and attractive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this one a 4.4.
Any reason it's not 4.5?
I was like, don't jump the gun here. We're only on title 3. I don't want to, but at the same time, you could argue, well, are we being harsher on these? But once we see more, we'll understand, we might give higher. We can always adjust our marks later if we want to.
Okay.
I'm going to 4.4.
Okay.
Go on, Xavier, what do you think?
I think this is a great title. I'm thinking sneaky habits. I love how that builds intrigue. Again, it says blocking of fertility. The only thing I might change is 3 sneaky habits. 3 sneaky habits. I might say something more impactful. I can't think on the spot, but like instead of blocking your fertility, I might say something like stopping you from getting pregnant. Maybe. That's the only thing I might adapt to make it more, what's the word? Absolute and, dramatic. But yeah, apart from that, I think 3 sneaky habits, really good. Says what it's doing, what the problem is, and then promises that the episode's going to tell you how to resolve it. So yeah, I think it's great. It's a great title. I'm going to give it a 4.2.
Solid, Xavier. That you gave it a lot more critical thinking than me there, because that's a good point about kind of what could have made it even stronger. So yeah, I like that. What are you saying, Anthony?
3.
I'll say, nah, it's definitely not a 3. I'll say, I'll give it a 4.2 as well. And the reason I'll give it a 4.2 is, one, it's a brilliant title, really, really strong. I think to go to a 4.5, I think 3 sneaky habits blocking your fertility. I like the word sneaky, but if you wanted to kind of make this feel more impactful, and if you want this to like capture even more of your audience or like build even more intrigue, you could actually substitute the word sneaky for a word that's actually, you could substitute the word sneaky for a word that's less aggressive, more subtle, but actually has a higher impact. How is that possible? How can we do that? What I would change it to would be 3 everyday habits blocking your fertility. Because now, 1, it feels grounded, but 2, it's almost like, an everyday habit, a common thing, like without saying a common thing, it's like an everyday habit. I'm doing this every day. Like, what the hell could this be? And it captures everyone. So like someone read them like everyday habits, holy crap, like what don't I know? And you kind of, they still get the emotion of these are sneaky habits without you having to say sneaky, but it captures more of the audience. We're like, oh wow, that's me. That's gonna be me. So yeah, that's what I would give a 4.2, not a 4.5 or a 5. But again, this is me being like anal here,
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? So I think that's good. I think it's actually going to be very valuable to watch back. I was just thinking it's just more for fun when we record this, but actually this is some useful ways of thinking about how we would improve things, right?
Yeah.
So next up, we've got Trump's tariffs spiked 1 midlife listener's anxiety and 3 coping skills helped. For me, I think it's got the strong elements, right? There's a bit of newsjacking baked in. There's a bit of kind of leveraging big names. It's obviously very timely and relevant. spiked one midlife listener's anxiety. I mean, I think even just saying spiked anxiety is quite an aggressive, like in a good way. It's quite a visceral way of calling out the problem. And 3 coping skills helped. Again, it's specific. It's kind of, it mentions the solution. To be honest, and again, we're nitpicking, right? It reads a little funny to me. The way it's structured, just like this thing spiked a listener's problem and this helped. It kind of feels like there should be a bit more to round it off. I don't know. I think if I was wording it without thinking about how I can improve the copy or anything, I might frame it around the listener to start with, like a question like, are Trump's tariffs driving your anxiety crazy in midlife? Here are 3 coping skills that help this listener do X, Y, Z. And I think be a bit more specific on what the coping skills help them do. Obviously relieve the anxiety, but you could make that a lot more contextualized to what that looks like in midlife. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 3.8.
I think based on what you just said there, Ty, with the improvements you mentioned, I'll give it like a 3.8 as well. 3.5 actually, 3.5 as well. Because I feel like that, there's it's a really good title, but also the improvement you mentioned actually is a big improvement. Therefore, can't really give it a 4.5. So.
I need to change one of my scores. I'm just going to keep being really strict, or I need to change the score because I'm comparing that one to the top one, and the top one I think this one is powerful. It's good. It's got newsjacking. It's good. It's got the big name like Trump, and it's got like basically reflecting what you said, Tig. But the grammar isn't like how. For example, a simple change to how Trump's tariff spiked one midlife listener's anxiety and 3 coping skills that helped them to whatever would make a big change. So I don't think it's as strong as the top one, for example, that I've given 3.5 to. So I would give it 3.2 because it does have all those elements in it that it needs. But I think there are a lot of things that could make it a banger.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And, if anyone wants to change their score, just, make a mental note of it, blurt it out, stick it in the Zoom chat. We can do that again, and we'll pause it. As long as we're all consistent with ourselves, it's all going to average out, right? Like clearly I'm being a bit more lenient than you, Tavia, but the average of us both will give a random score, so it's fine.
I'm trying to be an anti-people pleaser, so maybe I'm taking it too far.
No, I think it's good. I feel a bit scared to give anyone under the 3, but I appreciate it. Next up, we've got when life is hard, these 3 therapy hacks help. Sorry, I didn't do that one justice. When life is hard, these 3 therapy hacks help. Get out of overthinking pattern. Maybe it's just a bit of tongue twister. Get out of overthinking patterns and disrupt negative spirals. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I did find that one a bit of a tongue twister to read out. Which maybe
you would say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would say that. So, Anthony, what do you say about this?
I do think it's also a bit of a tongue twister. I think oftentimes with titles, you want it to feel, effortless to consume. Like it's just effortless to read. It's just roll up the tongue. So be like, you're rolling, you're falling into the copy. Whereas with this one, it just feels like there's certain pauses and breaks in between, when life gets hard. And also I think when life gets hard, it's just very generic, it's not very specific. Like if you said, when you hit rock bottom, rather than when life gets hard, like if we're going to go there, go to the extreme, when you hit rock bottom, here are 3 therapy hacks that help. Like even if you just that alone, I feel like that actually could be stronger than you having the second half as well, where it's like it gets out of overthinking patterns and disrupt negative spirals. I like that because again, it adds a bit more like specificity, to be fair. But I think just the specificity of when you hit rock bottom, that's like absolutely, that's definitive. Here, I think it'd be like, here are our 3 therapy hacks to help you, I don't know, like what? To help you stop overthinking and disrupt negative spirals. I didn't like the word disrupt. I think use a simpler word, either overcome Yeah, like, stop overthinking.
Yeah, beat negative.
If you,
Yeah, be negative spirals, yeah, again. So I think for this one, I'll give it like 3. Yeah, it's got a lot. I think it's got all the components to make a 5, but it's just not put in the right order. And it's not like, again, it's not framed and structured in the right way. So that's what I'll give it like a 3.
well, I think
How about you guys?
I'm picking up that this person has maybe like a bit of perfectionism, because it feels to me there are so many valuable things in that title. It's almost too much. So like
Yes.
3 therapy hacks, amazing for when life gets hard, amazing. But overthinking patterns, amazing. And negative spirals, like that's so much value. So I'm wondering whether this person is like struggling to convey it in a concise way because there's so much value that they're providing, which is a better problem than if you had no value that you're providing, right? So I think that's a positive thing. But to me, they almost look like 2 different titles. So I agree. I think it just could just be more concise and clear. It definitely promises value for sure in the title. But I would just I would probably focus on one area. So for example, is it mainly about overthinking? So 3 therapy hacks to instantly diffuse overthinking or break overthinking patterns. I feel would be more, you're giving more intrigue and more impact by saying less.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think as someone who has anxiety and goes to therapy for anxiety, I think looking at that, it would maybe make a bit confused as to, is this for me if I have anxiety and overthinking, or is this more when I'm struggling with life in a different way? Or is it like, do you know what I mean? What's the main like point of the episode? So I think that might confuse me and make it less likely I'll click on it. So I'm going to give it, based on that, a 3.3, because it does have a lot of value that it's giving. But more concise.
Oh, as in you said 3.3, or do you mean just 3?
3.3.
3.3. Nice.
Yeah, that's very insightful, Octavia. I think you kind of like summed up what I was thinking, but didn't really know how to say it, or couldn't really like put my finger on it. So, and you as well, Anthony. Like, yeah, there's a lot of value here, but the way it's framed is actually doing it a little bit injustice to an extent, because it doesn't come across so super clearly. So yeah, I'll just be repeating what you guys have said. The only other thing is like just a really simple one that would just help the readability is just putting a comma there. Because I think that confused me when I was reading that part. So you can also shorten it by making that like an N, but I'm not going to mark down for that. That's just some really nitpicky stuff to save space. But I'm going to give it a 3. And now we have, you don't think you have imposter syndrome, but your burnout and nervous system say otherwise. Controversial.
I like the controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good because it talks directly to the person. So if I saw this come up on my feed on Spotify, I'd be thinking, oh, like I would feel personally addressed. And the only thing I think could be improved is probably the last bit. Like, I like that you don't think you have imposter syndrome, because it does make me think about me. And yeah, I don't think that. Your burnout and nervous system say otherwise. I feel it's a little too vague. It builds intrigue and I like that, but I feel like it could be more and like grabbing you in terms of like, here's why, or like top 3 signs that your nervous system says otherwise. Just so it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? More intriguing, and it's telling me what I'm going to get from the episode. Because at the moment, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, the theme obviously is going to be burnout and nervous system, but it isn't telling me specifically what I'm going to get. i.e. the 3 signs that your nervous system is saying otherwise, and you do have burnout. See what I mean?
Yeah. So what's your score then?
I don't know. I'm going to come back to that.
Okay. I filled in on what you're saying. I agree. It really feels quite, it's very clever, because I don't necessarily think I have imposter syndrome, but obviously this makes me think, oh, well, do I? And that's obviously the point of it. And I suppose that's probably how we're all feeling about it to an extent. Or how it could make anyone feel, because again, it's like it's got a lot of natural objection handling.
Mm-hmm.
I would be more inclined to go the route of writing, like, instead of saying 3 signs, I kind of like it just goes, but this says otherwise, without kind of inserting anything else there. I'd be more inclined to do like a here's why at the end. I mean, just do that.
Yeah.
So that's personally how I do it, I think, for the same outcome. Yeah, I'm finding it hard to. I'm nitpicking. Like, again, like I would just make that the and stuff to save space. And you don't think you haven't. I would potentially capitalize the don't, just because people will read over that and be like, you think you have imposter syndrome, and people won't get it. So I'd probably capitalize the don't to really make that really obvious. Maybe I'd frame it as a question, but to be honest, I'm really struggling to find really big parts. I think, I'm looking at this and I think, okay, there might be a way to change a few words here and there. But in terms of the message and the feeling the title evokes, I think it's really strong. So I'm going to give it a 4.
I think, yeah. I was just going to say, the only other thing would be to make the link stronger. Because I might think like, okay, I don't think I have imposter syndrome, and then burnout and nervous system say otherwise. At the moment, the link isn't super clear as to why those 2 things or 3 things are linked. So I would maybe play on that more and say, here's why, and make kind of objection hand almost of like, it might seem unrelated. Those things might seem unrelated, but they're actually not. So that's click on it more as well.
I guess to build on that, I would actually just not mention burnout and nervous system. Obviously, if they're your keywords, then do mention them, right? But if you want to focus on, let's say, imposter syndrome, I would actually say something along the lines of, because to me, and again, probably because I don't think I have imposter syndrome, and for some reason, like I'll just, I'll brush over this because again, I don't feel like I've got burnout either. Being subjective here, obviously, the person you're speaking to will have these things, right? But I would have a bit more intrigue around it. So I would have it sort of say something along the lines of, two hidden signs you actually feel like an imposter, and in brackets, and the signs behind why you've been lying to yourself. Like, I feel like that creates a lot more intrigue around, like, if I'm on the edge, if I'm on the edge of thinking I might be an imposter, I might not. Honestly, I think I'd necessarily go towards this. Like, I just feel like, don't think you have an imposter syndrome, burnout, this is otherwise, or like, but what if I'm not burnout? Or what if I don't know what nervous system is? Again, the audits might do. But I think if you lean into, like, again, 2 hidden signs that proves you feel like an imposter, and the sign behind why you're lying to yourself, I feel like it creates a bit more intrigue around, like, I'm open now. I'm like, like, maybe not, but I'm curious enough to actually listen to it. So I'll give it a 3. I feel like, I'll probably give it, that's a savior. I'll give it a 3.
That's an interesting change.
And I suppose if the main focus is our burnout and nervous system, and the imposter syndrome is the like other topic, like you mentioned, if those are the keywords, then how would you do it then? So say burnout, nervous system were keywords and imposter syndrome wasn't. How would you make that title based on that? It was the reverse.
Okay, so let's say it was a reverse. What I would do would be,
I think just to butt in, I think just even simplifying it to 1 helps a lot. But for me, I think burnout can be an objection. Like, well, I don't feel burnout, so this isn't for me. But your nervous system says otherwise, and most people don't really. I personally don't anyway. Understand my own nervous system to know whether it is saying otherwise or it's not. So that would intrigue me. Whereas the burnout, I think, is easier to be like, I don't have that, so it's not applicable.
Yeah.
But ultimately, just simplifying it to 1, whichever one is more applicable to the audience, would remove the chance of one hitting and not the other, I guess.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to come back to this. I feel like I want to give it a point something, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm going to put that
I'm going to give it a 3.4 for now, please.
All right. All right. I'm not going to do that because you've adjusted now. That's fine. All right. Why teens don't talk and how mums can improve communication today. I think for me, this one is like other ones that we've seen so far in that it's got all the, it reminds me of this one. I'm just making a link to just naturally. My mind just goes to this one. And the reason is because it's got all the foundations for it to be really strong, but there's a lot of room to be more specific as well. I think something that can improve here, and I know you'd say this if I don't say it, Taylor, because you always pick up on this, is like, it would really speak to the listener a lot more if it's talking to them. Like, why teens don't talk and how mums, it would be a lot more direct and confrontational, and therefore a bit more kind of like a punch in the gut that makes you want to listen, to say why your teen isn't talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
How you as a mum are stopping like secretly making your teen not want to talk to you. You wouldn't word it like that. It's a bit clunky. You could be a lot more direct and evoke a lot more pain. Again, not in a bad way, in a way that incentivizes them to listen and get the value from it. How mums can improve communication. I think it's a big topic, communication, right? So I think when we're saying improve communication, there's also room to be more specific there as well. So, you know what? For me, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna go 2.8. Yeah, that's my one.
Okay, I agree. Definitely talk to the person always. If there's one thing you take from this video, everyone, talk to the listener directly. Why teens don't talk is an intriguing thing to start with, and how mums can improve communication. Yeah, you've got the pain point and you've got the solution. So you are telling people what they're going to gain from this episode, which is really good. It is just a case of, like most of the ones we've reviewed, making it really hard hitting, intriguing, talking to the listener directly. So yeah, I basically echo what you say, Tig. I think it does give more context than the one I gave 2.82 above for me personally. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah. I think I'll give it a 3 as well. I think the simple thing to fix up would be whenever you're talking about a pain point, for example, we said about, where was it? When life is hard, that's a pain point, right? But what's the extreme of that pain point? When you hit rock bottom, that's just stronger. That's going to pull more people in, right? Similarly to hit it, when your teens don't talk, like, how can we make that pain point stronger? Why your team keeps ignoring you.
Why your team doesn't trust you.
Or why your team never speaks to you or doesn't trust you yet. Like, really hit on that pain. If you're going to go there, go to the exact pain of what they are feeling, not just like be in general, be bold with it. So I'm giving it a 3 for that reason. Again, it's got all the facets to make a great title, like 5. Just tiny little tweaks that would make it like, whoa, Nice.
Yeah.
Oh. The essential leadership skill you're ignoring and why you need it to prevent burnout and become a great leader. This one reminds me of this one a little bit, in the sense that I think there's a lot of value there, but there's maybe one too many variables, or maybe not that, but maybe not quite enough through line between all of them. I think for me, it would feel more attractive if there's a few routes that could maybe be simpler. Like this one lead, become a great leader is like, one thing, leveling up your leader, but then prevent burnout. And then another thing is like, you're ignoring it. This one leadership skill turns good leaders into great leaders. And here's how you can start today. Something like that is one clear focus that I think I would find more attractive. I think another one would be, are you ignoring this leadership? Is ignoring this leadership skill costing you burnout and your mental health, or I don't know, something like that?
Or no, ignoring this leadership skill is costing you. That would be more powerful, right? Rather than
yeah, even better, yeah. Because then it's like linking the ignoring to the problem that it's causing. And I think that's, talking out loud, that's what I was saying a moment ago. It's like connecting the dots a bit more between these points here. But it's got good foundations. Like literally every single one of these titles have got good foundations, and they have the potential to be a 5, which is really good, right? So yeah, for me, I think there's there's quite a lot of potential that we could, really manifest within this title that's kind of like dormant. So
Damn, check Tiger out with his language,
I
the
think
vocabulary.
I know what that is. Yeah. I
Manifest,
don't know why I said it.
dormant.
Um, yeah. So I would give it a 3.7.
Cool. I'll give it like a 3.5. I think it was a good title. I think the main would be what's the cost of inaction, like you mentioned, mate, which is like what's it stopping them from doing. Again, lean more into what they're losing out on rather than even what they're going to gain. So like, and how it's stopping you, and why you need to prevent burnout. No, and how it's either and how it's stopping you from becoming a great dealer, rather than going to the upside straight away. That's what I'd say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be more negative, guys. Be more negative. Don't be positive. Be more negative.
In the titles, you mean?
Yeah, so I'm just taking the piss. Like, it's
No,
probably better actually to lean more like.
I agree.
So, as in like in the titles themselves, needs to be more like pain point focused and be like more negative than positive.
Yeah.
Which sides?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I always see that in my episodes. If I have anything that's like quite nice, no one cares. If it's like, here's why you're going to die because you've got IBS, everyone clicks on it. Obviously, I would never put that in the title, but something intense. Okay. I'm going to give it a 3.6. I think it's a good title. It's strong. It tells you essential leadership skill. Cool. I know I'm going to learn that I'm ignoring it. Didn't realize I was ignoring it. And why I need it. Again, same as what you said, Tig, about making it more, what's it called? Like connected and make it flow more in terms of the burnout and the great leader.
I think this might be our tightest. Oh no, maybe that one as well. Tight scores on that one. And just a quick footnote before we move on. I think obviously that as the general rule, it's like we can always drive the pain a bit more, right? There is always also a route. I think every once in a while there's also a route that doesn't need to do that, right? Like this one leadership skill turns good leaders into great leaders. For me, that's simple and attractive still, and actually doesn't necessarily focus on the pain point. So there's always ways you can spin it differently, but as a general rule,
yeah,
we should always be driving. When there is a pain point, drive it home, I think, right, is the lesson.
And I think maybe something to add, like you can have a positive title that's negative. Like you could say something along the lines of, for example, how to never hit rock bottom again. Like it's a positive title, but it's also negative. It's like you're focusing on the pain point strongly, but it's also very optimistic and positive at the same time. So using people's biases, just do stuff like that, lean in towards that element of things. How to never have bad outcome. How to completely avoid the worst thing ever this person could ever imagine. It's positive, but it's negative. Think about that. It's like,
mind
explosions.
Yeah. And again, the last thing is, yes, we talk about pain a lot, but it's to get someone to click and actually improve their life, right? And
no, it's not. I guess well, we want people to feel bad, don't we?
No, we don't.
He wants to live in a good, positive world where everyone's happy and jolly.
People, anyone watching this that might not have, I say that before just to make it up. All right. 7 little triggers that overwhelm highly sensitive people and how to handle them. Bang. Little triggers.
That's good.
I had to say that again because I was like, no, the word little actually adds a lot there. Because within the context of overwhelming and, being a highly sensitive person, it's like the little things, right? So I just feel like little triggers actually
I love it.
Well in that sentence, in that title.
Yeah. That's a banger.
Yeah, this is really strong. And I don't know if I'm getting a bit too English literature here, but when we're talking about little triggers, that lends itself more to saying 7 rather than 3, because it kind of feels like they are going to be like small bite-sized things. So then 7 points of the episode doesn't feel like a lot, whereas usually, it's a bit more common to go with 3 or maybe 5. It's a bit rarer than we see like 7 or 11 in the title. But yeah, I really like this one. In terms of room for improvement, that overwhelm highly sensitive people. I think it works not saying it directly here because again, it's like overwhelm this type of person. If you know you're this type of person, I think that's going to get you. But then how to handle them, I think there's room for improvement on how to handle them. How you can do this, or again, what does handle them actually look like? Right? Can I paint that picture a bit more? So for me, I'm going to go with the solid. I'm going to go with a 4.1 on this one.
Nice.
I'm going to go with 4.5.
Ooh,
Yeah, check it. Check it. I mean, it's good, it's strong. And it's always interesting, right? Because sometimes, oh God, I'm getting so philosophical here. Sometimes the loudest titles actually don't grab the most attention and intrigue and pull you in. You know, sometimes it's like the subtle thing, like you mentioned, like 7 little triggers. There's just so much like intrigue, and then you have the specificity over highly sensitive people. You're like, just I might, yeah, click. Listen right now.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, God, you're making me rethink up my score. Actually, I think when I gave my score, I was thinking too much of this part, but actually, this does so much. So, Atavia, what's your score?
Oh, I'm sorry. Just stop watching now. I'm going to be a Debbie Downer compared to you two. It is a very strong title. It's very effective. Everything you guys said, 100%. Like 7 little triggers, overwhelm highly sensitive people, how to handle them, all great. However, what I would change with this is, I feel like there's the same theme just with all these titles. They're strong, but we could just make them even stronger and even better. Because if I'm imagining if this popped up on my Spotify feed, would I click on it? Yes or no? What would make me click on it is 7 little triggers that are overwhelming you every day as a highly sensitive person, and how to something specific like reduce. I'm thinking, what's the issue it's having? All these things that are overwhelming me and are making my anxiety worse, or making me feel flustered, or whatever. I would want the how to handle them to be that specific. How to avoid them to reduce your anxiety, or something like that. That to me is like, that would be a 5. So I feel like it's not far off that. But do you see?
I see. I see your train of thought.
Yeah, I definitely see it.
You can tell he does a health audits, can't you, Tig?
You are.
You can tell he takes care of the client's health audits, right? This is why Tavia's doing it, guys, because she has these depth and the understanding that we're like, okay, I didn't see that, but holy crap, there you go.
Thanks, guys.
It's really amazing. And when I thought this, I kind of thought, I think that works there. But again, Tavia, actually, you're right. There was a better way of having both worlds. So, what's your score?
My score is 3.9.
Okay, that's pretty generous for Tavia.
Stop.
Rules from prison. 11 unlikely lessons for activist artists navigating Make America Great Again. I'm like 90% sure that's what it is. Curveball. It's a bit of a curveball. I mean, this is very strong. This is like one of those things. Well, I think I would normally say it's doing more harm than good because it's a bit confusing. But at the same time, like just something about new rules from prison, like it's just so out there, like from prison, like that it does intrigue me a bit. I have to admit, it kind of breaks the rules a little bit, to be honest. But because it's just mentioning just something so wayward such as prison, it's just like it does stop me, and I am wondering what's being talked about. But also, I'm not so clear on what's being talked about. So yeah, I'm not going to give a score yet. I can't make quite a final call. What do you guys think?
Sorry, go on, Anthony.
I was going to say that's what they call, Ty, a pattern interrupt. That's what you just experienced right there, mate. Like, whoa, what the hell's happening?
Oh yeah, no
new rules.
Right. It's such a pattern interrupt, doesn't it? Yeah, new rules from prison. What do you think?
I think it could be an easy shift to. I mean, obviously, I don't know the episode, so this might not land as it's intended to. But like new rules you didn't know you needed from prison, or like rules from prison that, do you know what I mean? Make it just do something to make it speak to the listener, to the reader, rather than new rules from prison. Yes, a pattern interrupt, but it's still vague. So what does that mean exactly? Is it like 3 lessons from bodybuilding that will skyrocket your confidence, or 3 lessons from prison that will show you how to navigate? Like, what actually is it in terms of how is that going to apply to me? So I would just make it somehow speak to the reader. um, 7 unlikely prison rules for activists. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. Just make the two link, basically, and just really upsell the prison element, because that's a good aspect.
I think there would be a way, a 1 or 2 wordings that would be the sweet spot there, isn't it? But it's also quite hard to get the sweet spot, I think.
You got any ideas how you would do it? You're usually better than
Not just saying this, but like I thought of it a moment ago and now it's gone. But I had
no.
my head that I thought like, okay, that could be it, but I can't remember what it was now. But
if it comes back, just shout out
sure.
or put it in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the rest of the title, 11 unlikely lessons. I mean, I like unlikely and it fits within the context of the rest of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice. And then, just for this, very clear, if you're an activist, you're an activist artist, it's relevant, and I think you're probably going to listen. So I think it's a strong title for that reason. I'm still holding back on my score. I want to hear what you guys think first.
Yeah, I'm struggling to give it a score. I think I would make the MAGA a bit more specific, because I wouldn't really know what that means. Like 11 unlikely lessons for activists navigating. What does that mean? Like maybe that'll be obvious to the listeners. I don't know, but navigating it how? Like trying to make a living despite impacts of MAGA. That would be more specific, right?
That's a good point. And I skimmed over that because I thought like, well, yeah, we're just obviously all looking at this from England. And that doesn't even make any sense. Navigating and then it's a slogan, right? Like that doesn't really make sense. Navigating, don't you mean navigating Trump's regime or like something like that? And what you said, Ted, is even better, like specifically navigating what trying to do despite, Trump being in power or despite this campaign.
Yeah.
But in fairness, I think probably people would get it, like the target audience in America. So I don't want to be too harsh on that either. Okay. What's your vote, Anthony?
I'll probably say like a 3.7.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what it is? I think for me, like it just, even though the start of it, new rules from prison is a good pattern interrupt, I think the rest of it just feels really like disconnected. Like 11 unlikely lessons for activists navigating MAGA. I really like that. I think even if you had maybe the new rules from prison at the end, and for example, 11 unlikely, but again, it goes into like giving too much sometimes, but 11 unlikely, I think they'll have a higher score if it was this. 11 unlikely lessons for activists navigating MAGA, and new rules from prison you didn't know you needed. Like, I think that'd actually be stronger. Again, even though being specific in terms of what the lessons are and the rules are, I think it still feels more personal, like you didn't know I needed. Interested. That was that intrigue there.
Or, so while it's in my head, you could put, if you want to keep the prison bit first, 11 unlikely rules from prison you didn't know you needed to navigate MAGA as an activist artist.
I like that.
That connects the dots nicely. Well, both what you said there, I think, are good improvements. So, Octavia, what's your score?
My score, you have to come back to me. Sorry, Ty. What's yours?
That's what I was asking you.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3.9. I think it's pretty good, but there's definitely a lot of questions and confusion I got. And what I will say is, in fairness, I don't think we're probably the best 3 to judge this. We just need someone from the US here who just probably gets the context a little bit more. They just might intuitively understand it a little bit more than us. But yeah, I think it's a good title with lots of different ways where you could just make it a little bit more clear and stronger.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.4.
7 must-have factors for successful instructional coaching. Who's the title for is the first question that comes to mind. I think instructional coaching, I don't know if that's something I need as a coach or if this is something totally different for like teachers or something like that. So for that reason, I'm a little confused.
Mm-hmm. I like the 7 must-have factors.
Hmm.
That's definitely a good start.
Definitely.
And successful is good. I guess it could be specific, successful how, but it depends on who it's for, right? But Anthony.
Like it feels a bit odd saying 7 must have, and again, I like the 7 must have factors, and that's strong. But then to follow up with 7 must have factors for successful instructional coaching.
7 must-have factors.
Like maybe I'm reading this wrong.
No, I think it's just the way it's worded. I agree. I think it's just like 7 must factors. Can't say it. 7 must-have factors you need to be a successful, again, instructional coach would just need.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
That would be stronger, but also instructional coach. I don't know what that means either. So
I'm guessing that might be a key word, either like a phrase within the space of the individual where like that's a thing that's known.
Yeah, benefit of the doubt that within the context of, if a listener was seeing their episode titles amongst the show, they would
understand.
However, right, for new listeners who might have just seen that episode title on its own without the show, I think that would be a big hindrance to the title. And for me, I'm going to have to mark it down to that, I think that hindrance slightly outweighs this strong start. And again, I think it will probably be good in terms of like current listeners. But I think it's not very stranger friendly, which I think is not a term we've mentioned, but I think a lot of these are more stranger friendly in this case. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 as well. I don't think it's not a bad title. I'm not like, oh, that's bad. It's just the phraseology at the end and the slight reframe from it being about the coaching to it being about the person would make it stronger. So the must-have factors is a really good start to the title.
Yeah, I'll give it like a 2.9.
Yeah, can't have the 3 of us all give the same score, right? Do I need drugs to get your... Do I need to use... Okay, so sorry, do remember this was in speech marks as well, but I just didn't paste that. So, do I need to use drugs to get your attention? A sibling's cry in addiction recovery. Damn, powerful. I mean, it's a powerful niche, right? So, of course, it's easy to evoke that kind of feeling in a niche like this. But still, I think this quote and the way it's a question and just the impact behind it is a very strong start to the title.
I would actually remove the quotation marks because I think it's a really powerful start to the title. And I'm thinking if I saw this pop up on my Spotify feed, if it didn't have quotation marks, I know they're obviously not talking to me directly, but it does seem like they are. And I would be like, oh my God, what? That would have more shock factor. But as soon as I know it's a quote, I'm like, oh, this is a quote from the episode.
That honestly, I felt the same.
Okay, that's good.
Because like when I read it without the quotation marks,
yeah,
it was like almost a pattern interrupt. Like I felt like the host was speaking to me, and now I'm like, I literally felt myself lean into like, wait, what the fuck's this? Am I reading this right? So in a weird way, even though yes, that's a quote from someone saying it, it feels stronger not having it because I'm just like, holy crap, this guy's talking to me. Do I need drugs to get your attention? I'm like, whoa, what the hell's going on? What happened?
Good points, to be fair. I didn't really read it like that. I didn't get that, but I see what you both mean. I mean, a much smaller thing is that if you're going to use this, I would just remove the colon. I think it'd put that. And then what are your thoughts on this part, both of you?
I don't love it.
Good feedback, Octavia.
Yeah,
that's all
I constructive.
All out. I think it's again, it's kind of like it's kind of vague, but it's also a bit it's non-directive. I don't really know how to word it, but it's not telling me what I'm going to get from it. So, for example, like a sibling's cry in addiction recovery, it's just a bit vague. Whereas if it was, do I need drugs to use drugs to get your attention? I'm trying to think of an example of what you'd say. It's quite hard when you haven't heard the episode, but the the desperation you feel as a sibling supporting someone in addiction recovery or something like that is more clear what it's going to be about. So yeah, it's quite hard to give an example.
Even your role, even like the role you play in your siblings' recovery or siblings' addiction recovery feels a bit more like, fuck, oh damn,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a bit more like personal to me.
There's so
I
much.
think-
There's so much room to make it more clear who this is for and what they're going to get from it.
Yeah.
I think this doesn't do such an impactful start justice.
Yeah. This is probably the title that's got like the strong, really strong start bit, and then the second bit, I feel like it lets it down a bit. Like if the second bit was super clear, super concise, and called out very specifically, I feel like this would probably be the winner for me.
Damn, I'd say you're letting out some bombs here. If we had a gold star, I think it's over like. But I think, yeah, I know what you mean. To be honest, I think the star is so strong without the quotation that I would still give it. Me personally, I'll give it like a solid 4. I'll give it like a 4. Yeah. I think it's just the last part. Like honestly, when I read it without the quotations, I felt like my brain was like wide and my eyes was focused on like. I had an experience recently, guys, and this is kind of the same tangent. I'll keep it on track. A guy opened up with this hook. This is probably one of the best hooks I've ever heard in my life, and it's again the simplest. If you're someone over 5, you know the feeling of. And I was like, or everyone over 5 knows the feeling of, and I was like, what 5? I don't know why did that for some reason. In my mind, sometimes I was like, everyone over 5. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Of course I'm gonna be 5. What I was gonna be watching this thing that I'm about to watch. Anyways, I digress. That's the feeling I got with this title where I was just like, whoa, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. It's very direct to the person. What it does is it makes you think like, oh crap, are they talking to me? Like, oh, it's this
Yes.
person, right? Like, what? But then I feel like the last bit really lets it down for me because I was so drawn in and the first bit is so intense that then the second bit is kind of like, oh, okay. It doesn't.
Yes.
It takes away from it. Like, stop adding up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably didn't add up.
Just preparing it for later.
Okay.
Yeah. I won't do it for all of them, so I don't know who's got what yet.
Yeah.
So what's your score then?
I'm doing this based on would I click on these episodes or not, right? So I'd probably give it a 3.9.
No, you guys were strong on this one. I think this is. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.4.
Honestly, if I just saw the title, do I need to use drugs to get your attention? And I didn't know who the author was, didn't have the host, had no idea. I would click on it. I would actually click like, what the hell is this guy? What is this? Like, what's happening?
And there's something there, isn't it? There's that's an interesting thing to observe, I think.
And also, I think there's something interesting about what you said, Octavia. We always mention speaking directly to the individual. I feel like this is antithesis. Is that the right word? Type vocab. The antithesis of that example of like feeling like you're really spoken to.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're doing this. No, it's like, do I need to use drugs to get your attention? It really does feel like it could be like I'm literally speaking. I'm reading the message from someone who's trying to get my attention.
And yeah, it's because the I and the you rather than
yes,
the different layers. So, look, guys, we've got one more. Then we're going to tally up the scores, and also we'll reveal who's who. Although, this is not like his secret information; it's just from the school post. How to find your ikigai or reason for being in career and life transitions.
Why you need to find your ikigai if you want a successful career and life transition would be something I would change it to. But maybe that's not reflective of the episode. So how to find your ikigai. I would remove all reason for being because that kind of detracts from it, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I would just add something on the end as to why you need to do that, because A, either people aren't going to know, or B, like they're not going to know really about Ikigai, so they're not maybe going to be sold, or B, they do know about Ikigai, but maybe they've heard about it before. It's kind of like a neutral, I would say a neutral episode title. Like it's good, it has the how-to, and it has the outcome, like what you apply it to, the career in life, but it's not really telling me why I need to do it. It's not creating urgency, I think, for me.
I'm guilty of what you were Tavian. I think I was checking this client's dashboard the other day, and I happened to notice that this title is potentially their best ever, or it's like
Oh, really?
one of their strongest in the last 30 days, or something at least. It was like it had a lot of downloads.
Oh, nice.
So I suppose I'm a bit. Am I partial or impartial for that? What's the word?
Partial.
Okay, yeah. But I agree with all of your comments there, Tavian. I think like I have nothing to add. I think you make good points. Anthony, what's the score on this one?
I'll say like a 3.5. Or 3.5. Yeah, 3.5. 3.3. Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm going 3.5 as well.
Okay, I'll go 3.4.
I like it though. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's solid, isn't it? But
And there's something to be said about just like a very clear promise. Like I
Mm.
don't feel confused one single
Right.
bit
how to find
about like all reason for being in Korean. Like I don't know exactly what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
There's something to be said
a
about that.
mothership title, isn't it? Like it's just a good, like that would just be a good starting point of a listener where it's the focus of the show is this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Can we take a very quick sec just to review our scores? And if we want to make any other.
So I was thinking I was going to pause the recording while we
Yeah.
just. Okay, let's do that.
By the way, guys, this has been fantastic content. I hope you guys are cool with me.
Okay, right. So we're back. So I'm going to share my screen and reveal the winner. So firstly, we have, we've all got up, taken a breather. We've adjusted our scores, mainly some of the earlier scores, because I think we didn't really know what was what back then. But now we all kind of thought, okay, well, if I give it this one, then
So long ago. We've learned a lot then.
yeah, we've learned a lot. We can manage to contextualize our scores now. So we've made a few updates, but nothing crazy really. And now we're going to reveal the winners. Before we do so, do either of you have any thoughts you want to share firstly? Tavia, I'll come to you first.
I just want to say that I know we made a lot of critiques, but that was because we had to. But I'm very proud of everyone and their titles. The amount of audits and stuff that I do for people who have never worked with us, if you could see the difference between your titles and theirs, you'd be very impressed at yours. So yeah, I'm very proud of everybody and good job.
Yeah, I think everyone gave us a good go. Absolutely smashed it. And from our end, again, like Tavia said, we're critiquing here. We're not like patting you guys on the back. You guys know you're crushing it. This is what we're here for, right? But we want to have a bit of fun and also just give some pointers because that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to evolve and, of course, get way better titles in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the last thing is, all of what we say is with a pinch of salt because we don't know how well these episodes are done. And I know we actually discussed some that we weren't, the ones that we gave the higher scores to, we know have actually done really well on that show. And there's some where, we wouldn't, because we're not the target listener, because, even we're not in the country, our feedback is, it's slightly blurred.
Bias.
It's slightly, it was biased. So with that said, these are all really good titles and these all have huge potential. And actually, this is really a moment to celebrate. So,
and can I just say, for context, to get to a 5, because people might be thinking, well, why did no one get 5? To get to a 5, it should maybe start with the same emotional impact as row 14. Not always, doesn't have to always be that extreme, but leave you like desperate to click on it or like you can't leave. So if you're wondering why no one got a 5, that's why, because we're holding it as like a really high standard to be like to aim for. Which we don't, yeah.
Yeah, and the stronger they start.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give a 5 on the next one, but for now, let's reveal the winner. So I'm going to total these up, and whoever has the highest score is simply the winner.
It's simply the best. And
the winner
than all the rest.
12.8. We've got 12.
Oh, close, so close.
Oh, that is really
That is so
Ooh,
close.
0.2.
Wow.
Can I get some props of adding a bit of drama to this and actually having it be like the points?
What do you say? No. Oh, you mean like the difference? Oh,
Yeah, there's 0.2 difference.
okay. I could have done that so much better. I should have literally gone down each one by one. So sorry, guys. I'll make it more dramatic on the next one. But the winner is 3 sneaky habits blocking your fertility and how to shift them to get pregnant naturally. Congratulations, Katie Wood. I'm 99% sure that's who wrote the title from memory, but we'll double check that. You have won.
You've won.
Right. Epic.
Damn, check
Great
it.
job. Hell yeah.
Nah,
And
this is awesome.
everyone watching this, including myself, take all of the titles and just basically use all the strengths in each one to make your next 10 titles. Would be a great hack,
That's
Right.
great, actually, yeah.
which I know someone is doing, so that I kind of stole that idea from her, but thanks for the idea.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, nice. Oh, we got to give a shout out to the runner-up also, because that's so close.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So in second place, we have Todd. Again, I'm like 99% sure that's Todd. With 7 little triggers that overwhelm highly sensitive people and how to handle them. Congratulations, Todd.
Thanks.
That is also a really good title.
Bam.
No prize, but just knowing that, you had a really good title and hopefully the amount of downloads you get and engagement with this episode would be, some other prize to some.
If it is Todd, he's smashing it with the downloads, and so he's got a prize in itself with 12,000 downloads in a few days. So yeah,
And then I suppose if we're doing first and second, we should do the third place as well. And it looks like third place is tied
Run.
between
Yeah, tied.
Laura Camacho, the secret practice top executives swear by to level up their leadership. And the curveball from Paul King, do I need to use drugs to get your attention? A sibling's cry in addiction recovery. Paul, the start was so strong that it negated what we could have done different in the second half. So congratulations and thanks everyone for your titles. It really was really good fun and hopefully very informative and actually constructive and educational for if you do watch us back. If you do watch this and you've made it all the way to the end, we appreciate you. This went on actually a bit longer than we planned to, but we're having a lot of fun and hopefully giving a lot of stuff that is applicable to future titles within the process. So,
Oh, yeah.
if you've got any final words, we can wrap up the recording.
final words. If you're in Slack, you should be sending me your titles, and then you'll definitely win the next one. So yeah, you want to use that as a cheat secret.
Awesome. Good stuff, guys.